experience
I
in
hate
general.
this guy's video, dude.
Let's first talk about skills. Sadly, they're not great, but I'd probably say they're at least better than Diablo 3. There's two distinct...
Everything that the only time he gives the game compliments, he's literally wrong. Bro, if you guys watch videos like that, you need help. Okay, dude. Wait, what's this video?
If you know me, you know I don't mince my words. And if you don't know me, you should know that I don't mince my words. And seeing as how Diablo 4 has finally been out for a few weeks, I'm now prepared to release a huge log of word shit all over it because I currently don't like the game. Honestly, I think it ranges from fantastically flawed to fundamentally fucked. Truly, I have never had a gaming experience where I felt compelled, day after day, to sit down and force myself to play something I just couldn't stand. That being said, still playing it pretty much daily. Normally, when I'm not super into something, I'd say this game is not for me. I'm not enjoying it enough and go back to playing some shit like RuneScape so I can click rocks and wait for death. But I was obliged to play D4. I just had to do it. And I'm of the belief if this game was actually just called Lilith 1, we wouldn't even care. Everyone would have moved on already. I especially don't think that people would be arguing that the faults of a 20-year-old game excuse the shortcomings of 2023 products.
What's
but
this
hey,
Lilith
what do
1
I know?
thing?
Honestly, online I've seen the argument go, yeah,
oh.
Diablo 4 has problems, but did you know Diablo 2 fucking...
This fucking take of if it was called like something different, no one would care. No, the fact of the matter is, no, it is a game made by Blizzard. We understand what Blizzard does, and we understand that there's the potential for this game to pop off is huge. It doesn't, you know, that wouldn't change. What are you talking about? If it was a continuation from the previous Diablo games, and the expectation is that it's going to be a live service game and it's going to pop off and they're going to do a bunch of shit, then that recontextualizes like whether or not you want to invest time getting good at the game, learning the mechanics, learning the systems, because of the fact that you understand that it's very likely they're going to release a bunch of shit and the game's going to be far better. Now, if it was just some random game company, you wouldn't have that expectation, so then it wouldn't. So this is the thing. It absolutely matters. Like, it's one of those things where, like, dude, regardless of the name of the game, if it was a continuation of a Diablo game from the Blizzard, you know, from the company Blizzard, the expectations are high, and they still are high. I'm expecting Diablo 1, I'm expecting Season 1 to be a fucking banger, chat. It's going to be big dick, it's going to be laden with content, and it's going to be fucking PogChamp as shit, bro. That's the reality here. That's the reality. Like, fuck, why is that pause and play? Keep going to the fucking music.
Sucks. Today is a bit of a cynical seer, but I won't only
dude.
be sitting here blasting away every aspect of Diablo horror out for more money because the developers did get some things right.
I don't know what's wrong with my computer!
Please delete this concept, gaming industry. But the whole thing, the entire nearly $100 experience, because I'm a fucking sucker, has illustrated what makes an ARPG fun in the first place. It's simply incentive, and that word can extend to a lot of separate concepts like leveling up, having a tangible purpose, challenging content you haven't done yet, gearing that isn't boring as shit, and then the more metagame details like dynamic character building, fast and frequent gameplay. And did I mention that items should be fun? And the game has really fumbled with many of these concepts. The amount of time you have to scour around for fun is crazy, and every time you think it's finally going somewhere, you realize that you have to carry 3 stones to a door frame before the fun can continue. Okay, we'll have to do this section by section, but before that, I want to talk about everything surrounding the game itself. So Blizzard did a decent job with the story, and I'd say it's one of the most fleshed out attempts for investing storytelling in the ARPG genre. I enjoyed my time with that part of the game, and I think it was mostly good. Well, it's mostly good if you like the fact they disregarded an entire game's lore, retconned how this entire world worked, and then proceeded through a bunch of hoopla to basically tell a bland-ass lover's quarrel, complete with rods through the ass. But if you...
This guy's farming average. This guy's farming. He's farming haters, bro.
You bought Diablo more advertising just because Kentucky fucking Chicken said it was probably a good idea, then you most likely enjoyed the plot. It was clean enough, the cutscenes were fine, the voice acting was great, it flowed nicely, moderately compelling, good new characters, which the game quickly axed off cool, and cinematics that reminded me of old school Blizzard. I think there's only 2 of them, but still, you know, really good. In terms of graphics, I keep seeing people say that thank God the game is reminiscent of Diablo 2, that it's finally gone back to its dark and gritty roots, but honestly, this game feels more grim than even that game. It's gone closer to a depressing world rather than a gothic horror one. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You've got Diablo 4, fuck's sake. Now, notice how brown the world is. That's not for me dumping all over the game either, that's just what they figured we'd all love because Diablo 3 was just too colorful. But Diablo 2, probably due to its age, had to make use with much bolder colors. I mean, look at the Fallen. In Diablo 2, they're like a bright red tomato. Here in Diablo 4, I don't know, everything looks kind of washed out, doesn't it? It's like fucking been in the dry cleaners too long. It smells like it's burning right now. But anyway, I actually don't care. People get so caught up on graphics.
Wait, I was gonna say, you sound like you're just pandering all those people who complain about that thing when nobody fucking cares, bro. Look at these red guys, bro. These guys are red. Look at me when they're poison, they're green. What are you even on about? Doesn't make any sense. That argument is fucking trash.
It's serviceable, but it's its own distinct thing. And actually, the graphics are in service of the plot, really. This is more morose environment. I like how sad everything feels, except the game itself, of course. And okay, I'm pacing myself sorry, we'll talk about it later. Really, I was impressed that Blizzard got me to care about new characters at all, but that's another stupid problem. Why did they go and kill almost everyone in the plot? I get it, Diablo, sad shit, scary world, big red demon, not even in the game yet, but these sympathetic human characters just being discarded as soon as their story got somewhere sucked. Even me shit, they put him in the game despite him being like 100 years old, and they say, yeah, fuck him, he's dead.
Okay, killing characters is fine. It's just killing them for no reason is cringe. All right, to be clear here. If no characters die, it becomes boring and they all have plot armor and it's not exciting. There's a reason why Game of Thrones was so fucking good. It's because they made these awesome characters and then the cunt would just kill them off at will. He'd just be like, all right, this guy. But they didn't die for no fucking reason. There was reasons why they died. And it made sense, right? It made sense why they died, like within the universe. Whereas Donan or whatever the fuck, you know, it didn't make any sense. Like, oh yeah, we just need to get rid of him because that character, like, we just need to get, you know, the will and hell kills. Okay, that's like question mark, question mark, question mark.
Lilith makes for a fun villain, but she's literally inconsequential to anything, and the game gets rid of her by the end. The whole plot of Diablo lore's going down the drain is just a dropped egg. Sorry, I'll explain this metaphor because it's too stupid to be naturally understood. Say you have an egg in a pan and you're gonna get it, you know, nice and cooked up, and nearly at the end of this process, you just fuck up and drop the egg, breaks apart, everything goes all over the place, it's a mess, all the pieces are everywhere, and now you have nothing left from your preparation. That's this plot. It now needs Diablo 2 villains to make a wrestling entrance to make this game have a story again, and it just makes me wish they ignored
it was there from the beginning!
She's just gonna be tossed out like that. In comparison to Diablo 3, the game has fantastic...
It was the first character you met! They didn't just randomly bring it in, dude! Wait, were you even keeping up with the fucking story, bro? He was a pivotal member! He literally came out and saved you at the beginning, and then you meet him multiple times, and he speaks in these cryptic messages, but then he kind of all makes sense at the end. That's the whole point, dude! What the fuck?
Art direction and storytelling. I enjoyed a lot of little things, including the fact that your player character is a lot less godlike here. In Diablo 3, you pissed rainbows and you could kill anything. You're basically the strongest being in existence. Here you have this morally gray, I don't know what is going on feeling, and it makes you, the player, somehow one of the most interesting characters. I think all the artsy side of things was well done, and they carved out a distinct and enjoyable product. But the gripes I have is not to do with the graphics, the world, or the story. It is all to do with the gameplay. So let's begin. Firstly, this is probably one of the most boring ARPGs I have ever played, and I genuinely would rather play any other Diablo game than this one. That doesn't fucking count.
This video is trash. Video is trash. Video is fucking trash, dog. Video is fucking trash. Oh, it sounds like all he wants to do is hate, bro. I don't know. I don't know why I clicked on this one. It didn't look like it was gonna be a video about hating. But this video is just fucking. He's just hating, bro. He just sounds like he just kills the shit. And he says, I don't even care. He's saying all this hater shit. He's just farming hater points. Like, well, actually, I don't care. Like, cause all the points he's making are fucking trash, dude.
Get that out of here. The simple fact is that there's too much boring content that the developers think you should have fun doing, and Diablo scores low by many metrics. Helltides, Tree of Magical Talking Heads, the same two dungeon types, reputation grinds, altars of Lilith, world boss messes. Basically everything you have access to is honestly ass cheeks. And it made me start realizing that all ARPGs have these problems. It's mostly boring gameplay that you're expected to do thousands of times, but the mark of a great game is one that is the expectation, but you don't even care. You might not even notice how repetitive it all is. It's addictive despite its genre. Step one to fix this would be making a better game.
Bro, Donnie, just hard disagree. Just hard. There's not basic overload. He's saying part of his whole gameplay's trash, bro. Actually not trash. It's actually fucking PogChamp. Look at like the micro of boss fights and the feeling of like fighting a boss and dodging a mechanic and playing like a god gamer. Look at the feeling of like when you get your fucking build online and you go into like a goddamn legion and then you fucking arc and it goes and explodes the whole screen, bro. No, it's a nice feeling, bro. Nice feeling. It feels good to play. The gameplay's good.
I have ideas for that, but let's get analytical, not brain shitical. I'm making a big effort today. We'll break this down into several categories because the game deserves as good a critical review as I can give, divided into 3 sections of gameplay, itemization, and progression. You're in for a doozy. Straight up, my number one problem, the gameplay isn't fun because there's far too much looking for monsters. This is getting steadily improved by letting players warp to nightmare dungeons, but as for the rest of the world, you're stuck slogging around at the speed of Frown. There's just a lot of barricades and barriers, ridges, cliffs, twigs, and you're on a horse that doesn't work, and remember, you're expected to fight things occasionally. And when you finally find enemies, they're not even interesting at all. Since everything scales in the world, you'll fight Fallen at level 10 that feel identical at level 80, and since the mob variety is pretty piss poor with what feels like the same 9 monsters you're constantly killing, believe me, you'll not give 2 shits about what you're up against. Especially because they fit into 2 camps of small and big lads. That's all I see enemies as. Some resurrect others or whatever, but there's not much elaboration needed for what you're fighting against. And disregarding the enemies themselves, combat simply never changes.
You guys just love the basic, dude. You just love the basic. Okay, I'll admit scaling's trash. I'll admit scaling's trash. It's trash. But you 100% outscale scaling. You 100% outscale scaling. And once you move into Nightmare Dungeons, guess what? You're now on a fixed difficulty. Like, for example, these monsters I've been fighting, they're not getting any harder every time, and then my character's always getting stronger, so my character proportionally is doing better and better and better every time it levels up. Because of the fact that, guess what? The Nightmare Dungeon's static. Guess what? Majority of gameplay is Nightmare Dungeons.
It's always a loop of using trashy resource-generating abilities that you don't want so you can use your ability that you actually want with nothing interesting to serve as filler. Since you're limited to this small dinky-ass bar for your skills, the meta is remarkably stiff, basically feeling ultra-similar across the 5 classes. Plus, since the modifiers on champion packs are boring as sin, there's never an encounter that is truly fascinating, even during Nightmare Dungeons, the point at which the game gives a few more shits about variety.
Okay, dude. The gameplay of different classes, like a rogue does not play like a druid at all. Rogue, I mean, maybe you could make a rogue build that kind of plays similar to a druid, but like from when I played rogue, like setting up your fucking shit, using your imbuements, getting your combo set up, and then doing a penetrating shot and the whole screen exploding. There is nothing like that on a druid. There's you know, the gameplay is not the same. And when I played the sorcerer, it was like completely different. It was like playing a totem build. I was dropping hydras, running around in circles. Again, gameplay was completely different. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Play one class. I played literally many hours of all the classes. What are you even talking about?
Encounters, nothing really changes. You'll use your skills in the same way you have for the past 100 hours of gameplay. The only thing that is actually relevant in combat is crowd control and survival, but the interactions with that are wholly imbalanced, and Diablo core gameplay loop sucks ass because only a couple of the classes can disregard the omega lethal aspect of various CC with reliable ways to become unstoppable. Everyone else is kind of out of luck, especially the sorcerer, because they're not granted nearly as much survival as anything else. And funnily enough, the least dangerous enemies in the game tend to be big bosses for some reason. That might be because of scaling or some other shit, but you're basically far more likely to be killed by a little dinky wraith man off screen than a large lord of hell right in your face. I don't know about you, but that seems pretty bad. And the way you just play the game, that's another entire book worth of swear words. World events, clusters of random mobs, hell, even maybe those rare locked chests that have nothing in them. You're always going from point to point as the minimap themes fit. Basically, you're always on the prowl for something to kill, and when I'm playing Diablo, sure, I have one resounding thought in my mind.
This guy's such a hater.
This game's bitch. It's just a fact. You're playing.
This guy's like a fucking ultra basic farming fucking Andy from Twitch chat, and he decided to make a fucking video. Do you know, is it this bad, this bad, this bad, that bad, this bad, this bad? You just go through. What he's done is just gone through. He's looked through every Reddit post. He's looked through every video of all the things, and he's written down, okay, people don't like this, people don't like this, people don't like this, and he just goes through, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna say this bad, then I'm gonna say this is bad, then I'm gonna say this is bad, then I'm gonna say this is bad, this is gonna say this is bad. And even when he's saying it's bad, he's like, well, I don't even care about that. He's just putting it, it's just put it on a list to say it's bad to farm as many basics as possible. It's easy as fuck to farm outrage, bro. It's easy as fuck.
Where, when, and how they want you to play. Gone is the concept of any kind of freedom. The zones and areas of note are constantly being shifted around, and every time the game demanded a den of evil, a dungeon, it made me lose all enthusiasm. I just didn't care anymore. There's numerous things to go and do, but they're all shallow, and the repetition will get to you. I don't care about saving travelers with the same 3 lines of dialogue, especially when the game wants me to stand in a circle for 1 minute, killing spawning enemies while hoping this dumbass doesn't die for some reason. Maybe I'd be inclined to do that if the game didn't feel so boring to kill things in. World bosses aren't interesting because it just has to be a mess in order to actually function. Can you imagine if these bosses were really hard and coordination based? It would never die. Tree of Whispers is also boring content made only to promote the notion of going to places you don't want to go. That should be a good design in theory, but the rewards you get from the tree itself are usually terrible.
But he has a fucking spine, he has more integrity in his pinky. Honestly, it requires no integrity to grift. The opposite of integrity. It's far easier to just pick a side and grip that side, because there's obviously generally 2 camps, than it is to like actually try and get, you know, give your own realistic, subjective opinion on something with nuance. Okay, because it's super easy to say X bad. Like a bunch of people think this is bad. I'm gonna say X bad, Y bad, Z bad, and you just farm basics. That's not integrity, bro. That's just being a shill. That's just being a grifter shill bitch.
Or at least lower quality than just doing something else. Helltides are content that isn't even always active, but it's basically the exact same thing as the normal game, but there's a bunch of tomato sauce everywhere, and they've got locked chests. Hoo boy, but you've got to do them because it's the only place a very important reagent drops. So get your phone alarm out and get in there, Billy. And truly, online only all the time doesn't even benefit you as a player. I have not given one quantifiable shit about anyone else in the game world. I see players, I think whatever, and I move on. There was only one time anyone typed a word near me, and it was a guy saying hello. Also, delete the horse. That's all I'm saying on that point. burn in the burning hells. I don't want horse gameplay in any ARPG, especially when it handles like a John Deere tractor. I've only noticed at this point in the script that I'm just complaining. Literally, I'm venting to you guys, and I have to tell you, I'm sorry. It's not intentional.
That's all you're doing.
It's not a gag. No, it is. I genuinely just don't like this game. Something isn't right with it, and it's funny. The curve of enjoyment went from very high, like at first I thought this game was pretty great, and it plummeted the moment I got to level 60. It just absolutely died. All of these complaints are under the impression you've gone and collected all the overworld stuff, by the way, something I'm not even going to count as content. It's homework. It's a way to pad out the runtime, and I tell you, the casual fucks, I say that with the utmost affection, don't get me wrong, are so not going to redo this season by season. I don't even want to do it once, and I'm a Diablo fan. I'm someone in...
Jesus Christ, bro. It sounds like, he said, you know what, I actually like the story. He said he didn't like the graphics and everything, and then he said, actually, you know what, he didn't mind at all. He said, you know, this thing about the story, but, you know, he said, actually, no, it's actually a pretty good story. And then, bro, just play the main story, do like the 40 hours of gameplay or whatever, and then quit, bro. The second you're just not having fun and all that shit, it's a computer game. It's a computer game. You've got 40 hours of value out of it. That's easy. No one's holding a gun to your head. Just quit. You're good, bro. You're good.
I'm making a video right now, and I'm refusing to even engage with it. And you know why? Because the fun in ARPGs is carried by the concept that you're going to get rewarded, and the number one way this genre can achieve that feeling lies almost entirely through its itemization.
Yo, I'm about to ding, guys. I'm about to ding. This is gonna be crazy.
Because of Diablo 4, I have come to the conclusion that items are the most important part of an ARPG being good, unless you also make the game ridiculously complex, which lets the player have the added benefit of needing a college degree to actually enjoy the game. That's pretty uncommon, but that, you know, that one over there has figured it out. And you know what? I'm starting to appreciate that design more and more. But items here are a strict negative for me, because you'll find 7 billion items.
Oh, he's like, Gruffy, he doesn't even care about PoE. He doesn't even care about PoE. He's like, I'm starting to appreciate it. He doesn't even care about it. He doesn't even know. If you knew PoE, you would understand you don't need a fucking college degree to actually fucking figure out itemization in the game, because it's fucking really basic. It's really super basic. But he knew that if he says PoE good, D4 bad, everyone's just gonna go basic, bro. Okay, and that's what he's doing in this video. That's literally what he's doing. He didn't even play it. He didn't even like it, but he's just gonna say that because that's the fucking popular opinion, and that's who he's grifting this video towards, dude. Straight up.
Exact same feeling as the other 7.
You're being pandered to right now, Chad. Does it feel good? Does it feel good being in your little echo chamber right now? Like watching this content that's just like made for you to be pandered like a good little pandered little cuck? It's good? Is this good?
7 billion. You won't care about rarity, the name, the type of item. Really, it's all almost identical. Here's how it goes. You find an item, it's the heavy boots or some shit. It's yellow quality and it has the ancestral modifier. That's exciting. Hoo boy. And you pick it up, read all the stats, all 4 lines. That's all you get in Diablo Bore. And you know instantly that they're not good for you. Right in the garbage can it's going. Except the garbage can you want to throw it in is in town, so you gotta carry everything around with you all the time. It is incredible how little I care about any drop. You're getting legend.
Oh my god, what does he want? Would you want to have like infinite bag space? Do you want to have infinite bag space? Do you want to have no weight whatsoever? Do you want to have no friction whatsoever? No opportunity cost? Do you just want to just have, I don't get it. What do you want? You want a fucking salvage button in your fucking banks? Like, so as you're walking around, you just infinitely salvage everything as you go, and you have to go back to town? You want instant teleport to the dungeon as well while you're at it, and fucking no objectives, nothing, just always killing monsters? There are always monsters on your screen, 24/7 spawning, just 24/7 density, like, you know, just stand in a fucking zone and monsters just run at you as infinite density. Like, what do you want? Like, what do you want, dude? What's he saying? What's he saying?
There is all the time, and you'd think that would be fun, but it's the same items you found from level 20 onwards. They're now just statted better, and you only skim the text with a particular aspect that rolled, a unique modifier that you can rip off and put onto a...
Get your punk jets ready! Level 100! Yo, dang!
Different piece of gear. So basically, items don't even exist, at least not in the way most ARPGs do it. This game has stat sticks with no identity, no feeling, and how could they? The game gives you thousands of them. All item hunting boils down to getting specific aspects that make your build actually function well. And if you're making your first character, a lot of the aspects you find are exciting. They really enhance the gameplay. And being able to rip them off of one piece...
Isn't it funny? This bozo who just farms outrage just does all the stereotypical shit, and then he literally and the one actual dog shit trash part of itemization that ruins itemization he's missing. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Isn't that hilarious? He's starting to compliment. The first compliment in the entire video is aspects, which are like, it's literally the worst system in the game. It's literally the worst system in the game. Like, what?
Piece of legendary gear and stamp it onto something else is a great idea. It means everything you find can have a good purpose. But hang on, there there is actually an obnoxious problem with this system, at least during a majority of the gameplay. Every piece of gear you have doesn't scale with your levels, being one of the only things that has this problem. Because everything except your gear's power is growing higher as you play, you can have something with perfect stats, but if it's not the max item level, you're gonna have to replace it fairly soon and fairly often. Meaning that you'll either play a long time with bad gear with the wrong aspects, or you're going to need to hoard the exact same aspects over and over again in order to keep upgrading your gear to stay at pretty much the exact same power level. If you don't, you'll only get weaker for playing. I mean, that's incredibly
just talking
flawed
about scaling being mad right now.
Also, since your stash is so small and you can't search for items within it, you're basically crammed full of repeat legendaries. The genre is all about hunting for items, for that adrenaline rush, but there's nothing new about it after a few hours. There's not even dynamic text on anything. 4 modifiers.
Okay, what about fucking War Tier 3 loot? What about War Tier 4 loot? Like, what are you even on, bro? What is he even talking about?
Boring stat lines, the same aspects. Hell, a lot of stats that are pointless. Take your defensive pieces of gear.
There's like literal uniques locked behind world tiers that are absolute build enabling items that will completely change the way you itemize and build your character 100%. Like, for example, look at fucking Druid Gaming. Look at Druid Gaming. You literally cannot get loot half the shit that you want for your builds to make your character viable until you're in the high world tier, because it's locked behind a high world tier. And on top of that, he's missing the entire reason why aspects are bad. The reason why they're bad is because he said it's actually exciting to get an aspect, because it makes your gameplay better. And by better, he means 400% damage increase, which is literally the problem. So the only things that is actually the problem is the thing that he's saying is good, which is just like, bro, it's some brain dead. This is a brain dead Reddit farming video. That's what we're watching right now. So this is a brain dead Reddit farming video.
Armor reigns supreme as a defensive stat for every class, and resistances are absolute garbage. They don't function correctly, and if they are working properly, Blizzard has really reduced what should be a primarily defensive system into a pretty dumpy, shitty one, because they are awful. So you're always going to be going for the same thing regardless of what class you're playing. And someone might say, well, uniques are fun, they're really interesting and good to get, and yeah, sure, I thought that too, until I realized there's not even that many of them, and some of them are so fucking rare you could find Tyrael's Might after getting a few Mirza Kalandra in the same gaming session, and you'd still be a few football fields away from getting the RNG needed to find one of these hyper rare uniques. I ask genuinely, this is just literally from the heart, but Blizzard, what the fuck? Why are these so incredibly rare? I have found rare things in ARPGs. You need rare things in this game, but why are you making impossible odds for anything? Stuff you couldn't see if you grinded for years of your life. At what point was this just a waste of time to design? In my opinion, cap it off at maybe thousands of hours of looking for something.
It's fine for items like that to exist. You just the fact that all those items there exist that are actually interesting, it should just be like a couple. Or they need to make far more items. The ratio of like uniques to like ultra rare uniques is not correct. Now, you can have some giga rare god item, right? You can have like you can have the legendary weapon where like only one person got it the entire season, whatever. It basically doesn't exist for you, but it can exist. The issue is that they just made a bunch of these and they're far too rare. Like they should just make a couple of those. It needs to be a ratio. Right now, like 10% of all uniques are these ultra rare items which never drop, and it should be 1% of uniques, right? It should be 1% of uniques that don't exist. You know, there should be like this mythical magical item. You can make an item that literally says your character does fucking 400% more damage, bro, with everything. You know, it could be whatever. Your character, like every 10 seconds, you turn into a conduit, right? Whatever. You can make some crazy shit. If no one else, if literally one person gets it in the entire fucking world every month, then that's fine. You know, whatever. Then it's just like, you're just basically saying, hey, guess what? There's a Powerball that exists. But now anyone who understands basic maths is going to realize that you're never getting this, and it's just some shit. It's not a chase item. It's more like a lotto item, which can exist, though.
You know, it's something humanly possible. There's also elixirs and potions in the game, and I think they're a big shrug because whatever, who cares? They all give 5% more experience and have various effects. Some are decent, some are resistances, you know, happy day. Yeah, and speaking of experience
I hate this guy's video, dude. Well, we just hate everything.
As if this script needed more things to bitch about, Diablo abhorred this game design is basically a treadmill, an endless repeat of the same action, only the difference here is that the treadmill only grows longer as you play and someone keeps hitting you in the face every 15 seconds in the form of your gear getting outdated and everything else getting scaled. You only get 58-
Bro, what are you talking, bro? Your character outscales the monsters status. Your character outscales the fucking monsters if you don't have a dog shit build and you use your fucking Paragon board. On top of that, the fucking scaling part of the game ends at like 10% of the gameplay, like of the overall gameplay. Why do you keep talking? Yes, scaling is bad and it's dog shit. Yes. Okay, we get the point. We get the point. The guy, dude, I can't. This guy's negativity just draining me, boy.
8 skill points, 48 from leveling, 10 from renown. After that, you get Paragon points, which gives you access to a board of unique abilities and stat increasers. Let's first talk about skills. Sadly, they're not great, but I'd probably say they're at least better than Diablo 3. If we can agree that there's two distinct...
Everything that the only time he gives the game compliments, he's literally wrong. Bro, this video's I'm actually not watching the rest of the video. I'm fucking downvoting this trash. It's downvoted. I just downvoted it. I'm clicking off it. It's literally trash. It's literally trash. No, this guy's fucking so annoying. I'm actually done. That shit is just fucking trash. No, D3 had more skill customization and build diversity than D4. And you got baited by the retard bait, the fucking low IQ bait. Look, it's got a tree. It's got a tree. Oh, look, it must simply be more depth because there's a tree. No, there's less depth, less build diversity. I don't even, bro. Aspects are good because I actually read the game better. 400% more damage to specific skill, pseudo set bonus, literal killing itemization. Oh, I like that. Shits on every other aspect of the game, repeatedly just constantly talking about scaling the entire time. Like, bro, I literally cannot. I'm not turning it back on. I'm not turning it back on, bro. I'm not turning it back on.
If you know me, you know I don't mince my words to more than one target. This
There's
makes your
channel
point per skill. And each skill's extra synergies you can only choose one of. Even if you could choose both of them, they're not that interesting. A lot of the time they're just like 5% extra damage, or this changed to more than one target. This makes your skills not feel that much stronger. In fact, it makes it feel like arbitrarily you're dividing the power among several slots. Also, since there isn't that many slots to begin with, most people don't even seem to take ultimates for their builds. Like, this is a big thing they wanted you to take, but most times they're excluded. Respecking is a positive. It's quite simple and streamlined, which I think services the game well. That being said, respecking is kind of bad because your gear never supports it, and you really kind of need all the power you can get.
Everything he says is good is actually bad, and everything he says bad is either a non-issue or it's like some obvious issue, which is a glaring issue that everyone agrees upon already. So he's adding like no value, and he's only taking away value. That's all he's doing, dude. And the whole time he's complaining, and it's making me fucking
because of the scaling, but you know, at least it's an option. Plus, there's some strange constants you'll run into with character building. For example, Barbarian pretty much always takes the same 3 shots for every build because there's no reason to take various attack skills. Sometimes you'll have a weird reason to do so, but the shots are pretty much always top choices. Each class has many skills that fall into these categories of might as well take it because there's nothing better, and why would I take this? The fact that most classes have somewhere around 4 actual builds is awful because the range goes from 4 S tier builds down.
Who enjoys this type of content? Like, literally, who enjoys just some guy just hating on everything? Holy shit. Oh my god, you're sick fuck.
Down to like D tier instantly.
Like,
there's
you
not
need
much,
help.
if any, potential theory crafting available, and that problem gets compounded by aspects being more impactful than your skill choices anyway. Paragon looks like it will be the spot for more dynamic choice making, but a lot of it is still linear. You have nodes with various benefits on a scale of magic, rare, and legendary. The pathways to the juicy rare and legendary nodes are all just stats, so you can pick your preferred path because the legendaries are obviously where you want to get to. You can also level up socketable nodes with experience coming from completing nightmare dungeons, essentially this game's map system. Until recently, the incentive for doing these dungeons was very low, but a few updates have made them a more premier way of gaining experience and stuff, so thumbs up, Blizzard. And that's really where I'd like to leave this discussion, with the aspect of hopefulness, but I'm a bit more cynical than others in this regard. While yes, I agree, the game can be improved, there's just a lot wrong with the inherent structure of how you play. It's just not dynamic or interesting. ARPGs do tend to grow better and get ironed out, but with the core being, in my opinion, frankly bad, I don't see how they're going to revitalize the experience. It's certainly not through battle passes, buyable cosmetics, or doing the most boring side quest ever designed for anything. It's going to take a whole lot of work, and you might think this is literally nuts considering how much I just opened my ass on Diablo. For what reason would I keep playing? But I would say, since it's so new and I'm going to be playing it for a while in some capacity, Diablo 4 could possibly be the best ARPG ever made. It'll have to be rebuilt into a basically Diablo 5, but you know, we'll let the whole thing kind of come together. So I'll play the whole thing in hard.
So he's gonna, so the whole time he's just gonna spam play points and just shit on the entire time, and at the end he's just gonna just leave it open. Say, well, you know what, it could be good. I did this video, so it's just the most. This is literally the most dog shit video ever. This makes me depressed that this exists. It makes me depressed that anyone would even watch this. I hate that the algorithm even showed this to me.
Core, I'll give it more time, let it ruminate, and we'll revisit it. That's my point. Kind of sucks for me, but at least I can keep complaining about it. And for now, the taste in my mouth is one of 4-year disappointment and ass. I need to cleanse it. I think I'm going to go for one of those games everyone keeps talking about. One that apparently rocks my socks, so next time it's fucking knocks. It better be as good as everyone keeps saying.
Trash. That's rage, man. Like, bro, if you guys watch videos like that, you need help. And if you just watch that video and the whole thing is just about hating on things, and that's all you are, is just a hater, bro. Like that. What are they breeding? What kind of audience and what kind of people? Like, really, we're just gonna watch like just someone hating on everything and like, yeah, this shit. Yeah, trash, bad. Yeah, fuck that. Yeah, fuck this shit. Oh, yeah, this trash. Oh, yeah, it is bad. Yeah, that's so bad. Yeah, true, that's bad. Yeah, that's all those guys pointing about. Yeah, it's like distilled hatred and outrage farming, and it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting. And the only time he ever complimented the game, it was like the most dog shit takes I'd ever heard. Like he complimented like the 2 worst systems in the fucking game, bro. Like, I don't even know. Like it blows my mind. It blows, and it makes me lose hope. It makes me genuinely lose hope. You know, straight up.
Because he is God game.